Hey dude, so rumor has it that I should be congratulating you. Oh, you heard about that? Yeah, man, I heard. A promotion like that for someone as young as you? It's all over the news. People are approaching me asking if we're still friends. I guess they want to be connected to the new marketing director of Bloom Agency. Thanks, although it's still pretty new. I only found out last week. I haven't even figured out my schedule and all of the training I'll need to do. It still feels uncertain. Well, it's definitely not uncertain. They were really impressed with you. You did sign the contract, right? Yes, I found the contract, but it all feels kind of surreal. I don't think I could hold such a high position in the company. Tell me about it. I've been your best friend for what, 10 years, and it's surreal to me. Who would have thought that the tall, nerdy guy who helped me with my homework would become one of the youngest directors in the company? Have you considered what kind of celebration dinner you want to organize? Now I have to arrange a dinner? Well, it's somewhat expected to host a party. It's more of a networking event than anything else. But yeah, you should probably organize a dinner or something, just to show your appreciation to the board members and colleagues. Wow, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. And it's not like it's something you can't afford now. Yeah, when I saw all those zeros on my contract, I nearly fainted. You've really put in the effort for this. It seems like this has been your goal long before we crossed paths in university. Absolutely. I never anticipated how overwhelming it would be once it finally happened. No need to stress. I'm here for you as your best friend. I'll support you through the entire process. I appreciate that. It's been a surreal experience. So many people congratulated me, and I can't remember any of their names. It feels like I'm expected to know everyone. Well, that's when someone like me comes in. As the head of relations in my own company, I have a good grasp of the corporate world and can assist you. Seriously, you're a lifesaver. Thank you so much. No need to thank me. I'm just thrilled that you landed the position you've been working hard for, probably for more than a decade. It has indeed been a challenging journey, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. I know. Your determination is what makes you perfect for the role. So, how did your wife react? Funny enough, I haven't told her yet. Really? Why not yet? I don't know. I've been incredibly busy, and the moment I step into our house, it feels like I could collapse. I feel like I pass out as soon as I step into our house. She's been wondering why I've been so tired and why there's a gift basket at home, but I don't think she's figured it out yet. It's not like you're having some secret affair. It's a promotion. Most people would celebrate that with their partners. I know. It's just that... What? You can talk to me about anything, you know? I know, but I'm not sure if there's anything to discuss. What do you mean? It's not like we're arguing or anything, but things have been a bit strained between us. How so? Well, this isn't my first promotion. Last year, I got another significant promotion, and my wife quickly adapted to the new lifestyle, if you know what I mean. Nope. I have no clue what you mean. You need to clarify. Otherwise, I might get the wrong idea. Let's just say she's developed a taste for extravagant things. Very extravagant. Like high-end clothing and accessories. Everything luxury. It's something I've been meaning to talk to her about. She now insists on having the best of everything. Even with the amount from my last paycheck, it's not like we couldn't afford those things back then. But I'm just concerned about what will happen if she figures out my increasing salary. Well, it's not as if you're unable to afford it. I don't really understand why you're distressed about it. Not only has her taste changed, but she has changed a lot. It's as if she's a completely different person now, and it's disheartening. How has she changed? As far as I've known Maribel, she's always been a compassionate and caring person. I would have thought she wanted to contribute more to charity. That's what I initially thought as well. But ever since I got a larger monthly salary, she seems to be looking down on other people. Like whom? Well, she hired a housemaid named Julia. She's really wonderful and doing household chores well. We pay her well, and she's very kind with the cutest kids. She's actually started to feel more like a friend than someone we hire for household chores. Okay, what's then? Well, I came home early one day and found Maribel yelling at her, screaming even. The poor woman looked like she was about to cry. What? What happened? Well, it turns out she mistakenly relocated something to the wrong position in the house. Really? It's hardly a reason to lose temper with the housemaid. Exactly. She started hurling insults at her, claiming she supports Julia's kids, not Julia herself. She even told Julia to be ashamed, and when Julia tried to explain, Maribel acted as if she'd been slapped. It was horrible. You can't be serious. That doesn't sound like the Maribel I know. It's not something I'd expect from anyone decent. I mean, who talks to another person like that, especially someone they employ? Exactly. I felt so sorry for Julia, so I decided to give her a month off. Paid, of course. And to make things worse, her daughter Micah witnessed Maribel screaming at her. What did Maribel do when you gave Julia 1 month off? She snapped at me, insisting I shouldn't bother looking out for them, the little people who work for others. Doesn't she realize that you also work for someone else? I really don't know. I'm concerned about how she'll handle things now. It's surprising that I managed to convince Julia to stay on as an employee. With the income increase I'm expecting, I'm worried about the impact on Maribel. It's inevitable that she'll notice once your first paycheck comes through. I plan to talk about it with her tonight. I also intend to have a conversation with her about our spending habits. While I understand her love for luxurious things, the way she's been managing our finances won't lead to a meaningful lifestyle change. Wow, I would hate to be in your shoes. Tell me about it. Well, let me arrange a dinner and you can have the talk with your wife. Does dinner next weekend suit your schedule? Yeah, it should. Thanks a lot. And remember to tell me the whole Maribel situation. I feel like I have no other option. It's either confide in you or seek a therapist. Hopefully it won't come to that. Yeah, let's hope not. Hey there, just want to know how you're doing.
I'm feeling amazing. Can't complain. I spent the entire week shopping for new clothes and finally found a gorgeous bag. I also bought a bunch of other cute stuff too. By the way, did you notice the new cowskin blanket in our bedroom?
Yeah, it's nice, though I'm not entirely convinced it was necessary.
Well, the old one was getting worn out. This new one is more luxurious and will definitely help you relieve stress after work.
The previous blanket was only 3 months old.
True, but think about all the dust stuck in those 3 months.
Actually, I don't think we should change a new blanket when the old one is still good.
So, do you have an issue with my interior decorating skills? Because I don't see you putting much effort into decorating our home. Speaking of which, when do you think we should move?
What? Move out?
I mean, don't you feel a bit cramped here lately?
It's a 4-bedroom house and it's just the 2 of us. We don't even have kids.
I still feel like it's too small up there.
Well, you shouldn't.
Well, I do. Besides, this isn't the ideal place for a permanent residence, is it?
Well, that's the main reason I acquired the property.
No, this won't work, especially with your recent promotion. I mean, what will your colleagues and the board think tonight at the dinner?
About that.
What? Is everything okay? I hope that the catering company your friend recommended lives up to your expectations. It's not as costly as I thought, so I'm concerned it might not be the right fit for us. You know what? Maybe I'll consider the other caterers. They specialize in extravagant appetizers.
What? No, we don't need 2 catering services for this party. Plus, it's probably too late to make changes.
Yeah, you're likely right. But if people complain about the food, don't blame me.
I really won't.
What did you want to talk about?
I was thinking, what if I attend the party on my own?
Excuse me?
With your recent busy schedule, I assumed you might be fatigued.
Not at all. This is an opportunity to flaunt our newfound prosperity. We're set to become the new sensation. Everyone will be jealous of our life. I am certainly not fatigued. I've been anticipating this moment my entire life.
You have...
Well, obviously. When we were dating, I explicitly mentioned that my dream was always to find and marry a wealthy man, be a trophy wife, or something similar. This is my dream. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that, but...
Now what?
Well, I've noticed that you've been quite impolite to people lately more than usual, even over the past year.
Excuse me. I haven't been rude to anyone. I've always been a positive influence on people.
Well, I don't want to bring up past things, but what about Julia?
Fine. Let me clarify. I've been nothing but positive to people who are important to me.
That's the issue. You seem to have this strange habit of deciding who matters and who doesn't. That's not how the world works. Everyone matters.
Not in my opinion.
Yeah, you've made that clear. That's why I suggest you maybe stay home. Especially since you've never been a fan of formal events.
That was in the past, before we became affluent and thought we were better than everyone else. Now, I enjoy those occasions. This is what I've been talking about for years.
I get it. Believe me, I do. But I didn't expect it would turn you into this kind of person.
What do you mean by that?
I simply meant that you used to care for others, but lately your attitude has become quite harsh.
Well, you're the one being rude. You're currently sending insulting texts to your wife.
I'm not trying to insult you. I'm just confronting you about your recent behavior.
I can't help but feel insulted. Why are you asking me to stay home? I'm not some 1900s housewife. You can't tell me what to do.
I didn't mean that. I'm just expressing that some of your current beliefs don't align with mine. I don't want my colleagues and board members to believe that I look down on individuals with lower socioeconomic status or something similar.
I never said I hated anyone. I just believe that everyone has their place, and it might be different from ours.
See, you can say such words easily. What if others hear you say things like that?
Well, many people in your position share those thoughts. They might even appreciate you more if you said something like that.
Trust me, they wouldn't. Times have changed, and such views are not well received nowadays. It could lead to serious consequences, even involving it.
Oh, what? Are you planning to make me stay home or something? Have I done something to upset you? I've always prioritized your needs over mine. I've been a supportive wife for the past 5 years. Haven't I helped you a lot?
No, not really. To be completely honest, I feel like this marriage has been quite one-sided.
Why bring this up now, right before we're supposed to go to dinner?
I'm just expressing my feelings.
Now is not the time. Just move on.
What? What?
I don't have time to care for your feelings. Just move on. Act like a grown-up.
Excuse me? I'm sharing genuine concerns. You should listen.
You always want the perfect spouse who follows your every desire.
That's not what I want. I'm just sharing my emotions and you're dismissing me. How does that make me feel?
I don't know. I don't care. How do you think it feels when you ask me to stay home? Why would I do that? We're making more money now. I can buy whatever I want. So yes, I want to go to the dinner and show off with your colleagues.
About that, I do have some concerns about your recent spending. This week alone, you've bought numerous bags of clothes and furniture.
Well, I have to keep up with the latest trends.
No, you don't. You're just spending money for the sake of it.
Why are you stressed about money? It's not something we need to worry about anymore.
I know. I just don't agree with replacing things because of trends.
Can you just be shut up?
What? What?
I said, can you please shut up? Let's go to the dinner and have a good time. Stop trying to make me feel guilty about my spending. It's simpler if you just provide everything I desire.
I won't comply with that. I need you to listen to my concerns.
I don't want to hear them, so just stop talking. I'm getting ready now. Please don't bother me.
Dude, you won't believe what Maribel said. Oh, trust me. I'm aware. Wait, seriously? How do you know? My wife told me that your wife was complaining about people looking at her vehicle or something. She made some not so positive comments about the working class. We're part of the working class too, and despite having more money, it's frustrating. We work hard too. I can't believe her! How bad was it? Who heard it? I'm not sure about everyone, but I made sure our bosses weren't around. I had my wife stay with Maribel all evening to prevent any damage. I had a feeling she might say something like that based on what you told me earlier. I appreciate your help. No problem. So what did you want to tell me? Something from last night's dinner? Not exactly. It happened before dinner. Maribel has changed so much even I couldn't believe she's my wife. Really? What happened? I shared my concerns with her, and she not only brushed me off, but also got angry, telling me to shut up. No way, seriously? Yeah, it was awful. I've never seen her act like this before. She became really angry when I expressed my concern about her behavior in public, particularly how she treated people with less money. I mentioned that her rudeness bothered me, and she responded by saying those people didn't matter to her. I couldn't believe it. Who thinks like that? I have no idea. I've seen this coming for a long time, but I never thought it would actually happen. I hoped I was just misunderstanding what she was saying or something. That we would never get to the point where she thinks she could act that way. So what will you do? I'm unaware of what to do. I can't predict her next move. I won't be surprised if she decides to divorce me to secure more of our wealth, maybe waiting a couple of years until we've accumulated even more. She even mentioned that she saw herself as a rich trophy wife. It made me think about how trophy wives often divorce wealthy men to claim a significant portion of their earnings. Yeah, it's not an ideal situation, but it's a reality that sometimes happens. Do you anticipate her initiating a divorce in the future? Certainly. I'm convinced that if given the chance, she would probably file for divorce sooner rather than later. Really? Why not initiate the divorce yourself then? Well, the thing is, I kind of already did. What? You did? As I mentioned, I was aware of some warning signs in our relationship. We rushed into marriage without a prenup. Maribel told me that it wasn't necessary, but I knew. So, after that, I fabricated a need for her signature on various documents, citing insurance reasons. I managed to get her to sign without thoroughly reviewing them. How did you manage to swing that? Surprisingly easily. She hates documents with more than a couple of words on them. I mentioned it was for insurance, and she quickly agreed. Anyway, those turned out to be divorce papers. Whoa, so are you already divorced? Yep, we've been divorced for almost as long as we were married. Haha. Why didn't you have her sign a prenuptial agreement? Oh, she wouldn't have agreed to that. I always had a feeling things might end up this way. I hoped they wouldn't, which is why I stayed with her for so long. But she said some troubling things and I just brushed them off. I had no idea Maribel was like this. Well, she wasn't, for the most part. She's generally a very kind person. But I guess she's become really focused on money or something since my promotion. Yeah, it's quite apparent now. So, are you planning to leave her, or will you let her believe you're still married? I'm really uncertain about the situation. I genuinely don't know what to do. It seems like she's attempting to keep the money for herself. I've previously urged her to be mindful of her spending, but that didn't go well. I'm unsure about what to anticipate now. On top of everything, I need to address what she mentioned at the party. I wish you the best of luck, dude. Please keep me informed. By the way, I'm relieved that you've already separated from her. She wasn't the right match for you. Yeah, it's just unfortunate that it coincides with such a positive moment in my life, having received a promotion. You'll be all right. I appreciate that. Thanks for your support. It's really no trouble at all. You're my friend above all else. Thank you. Hey, Maribel, we need to talk.
Sure, let's talk.
What do you mean by that?
It means I won't allow you to dictate things to me anymore. I've let you control over me for too long, but now you've gone too far.
I want to remind you that I don't control you. In fact, I've given you the freedom to do whatever you want.
No, you've been trying to restrict my spending recently.
Well, yes, but it's just to avoid unnecessary extravagance.
We shouldn't be concerned about that. We're wealthy. Most people would love to have even a fraction of what we possess.
Exactly. I don't take that for granted. I also don't want to be unkind to those who have less than us. We should be focused on helping others, not showing off how superior we are to them.
Let's see how you feel about all of this in a few years, shall we?
And what does that imply precisely?
It doesn't matter.
It does, actually. I knew that it would happen.
What are you referring to? I haven't mentioned anything.
You've said enough.
All right, but there's nothing you can do about it. We never signed a prenup, so you should appreciate me while you can.
I have no obligation to cater to your needs.
Now that you're wealthy, you should provide me with a comfortable life. Review the prenup?
You never give me a comfortable life. I owe you nothing. By the way, we divorced 5 years ago.
What? That can't be true. I don't remember divorcing you. It has been a desire of mine, but I don't remember signing any documents.
That's because I led you to believe you were signing insurance papers, not divorce papers.
How could you?
Well, you should be more careful of the words you say.
Excuse me? You can't do this to me. I just became wealthy. You can't take it all away.
You're right. I really should consider finding a larger house, shouldn't I?
How can you say that? What am I supposed to do? I can't possibly move all the things I've purchased. It's overwhelming.
No need to worry about that. I'll inform a donation center that they can expect a substantial donation.
Don't even think about touching my belongings.
If you leave quietly, I won't.
Fine. I never truly loved you anyway. I was just waiting for the brainy nerd to strike it rich.
Yeah, I had a feeling. The thing about marrying a brainiac, though, we're always 3 steps ahead. Goodbye, Maribel. It took Maribel a week to pack her things. Throughout, she attempted to manipulate me into taking her back. But I saw through every fake tear. I arranged for moving trucks to take her belongings to her parents' house, the only place she could afford to live independently. That was a few months ago, and I haven't thought much about her since, until I saw her with one of my company's clients, a prominent CEO of a struggling startup. Seems she wasn't too devastated about our divorce. I decided not to inform her that the startup of her new boyfriend is failing and we're buying him out. What she doesn't know won't hurt her.
Hey, several of the guys from the workplace are coming over to drink after work, so make sure you have something ready before then. Prepare enough alcohol for 5 of us, as well as munchies.
Oh, Enoch, you can't just tell me these things when there isn't even anything in the house.
That's why I'm messaging you now, and informing you ahead of time. You still have time before we all get at the house. So, maybe you should stop complaining and start preparing.
Do you know I'm running a 42-degree temperature right now, honey? I've spent the day resting and recuperating. I simply do not have the time or energy to go to the grocery store and prepare the house for a party. Is it unreasonable to request that your co-workers come over to your house on a different day?
So it's all about what works best for you now, isn't it? You must learn to accept responsibility for your inability to plan ahead. It is your responsibility to deal with the fever or whatever you are suffering from. But as a wife, you must serve your husband and any guests he comes home. Do you understand?
It's not like I deliberately had a fever so I could take the day off.
Aside from that, everyone at the office is always complimenting me on what a wonderful wife I have. And how delicious your cooking is. That is why I am inviting guests over tonight, so they can see how talented you are as a chef. So, honey, please don't tell me I invited them to our place for nothing.
That's extremely thoughtful of you, Enoch. But I think you regard me more as a personal waitress or maid than as your wife at times. Do you have any idea how difficult it will be to clean the house before you all arrive? After you've finished eating, I'll do the dishes and clean up after you.
I don't believe you understand the point. Isn't what you just mentioned precisely what a decent wife should do? It's really not that big of a deal, so I'm not sure why you're acting as if I'm requesting something monumental.
I'm attempting to warn you that you and your pals will drink, get dirty, and leave everything for me to clean up. And I'm not sure I have it in me to do all of that on a day like today when I'm already sick.
Listen to me. You're the wife. That means it is your responsibility to look after the house. It's the same everywhere you go, in every home, so stop arguing. I'm not interested in hearing your justifications since you're a full-time housewife.
I believe I've stated this to you several times now, Enoch. I work from home, therefore I spend the entire day at home. But I'm sick today, so I took the day off.
And I think that only goes to show what a farce your so-called job is. They wouldn't have allowed you to take the day off if you were actually working hard. In case you didn't already know, the actual world isn't that simple. Even if they had a 105-degree temperature, a real adult would go to work.
I don't think anybody with a fever that high could be useful to anyone. Besides, didn't you take a sick day a few weeks back when your fever was only 38 degrees? I believe you have double standards for how you and I should behave.
You're clueless. I'm basically a super genius at my job around the clock, so please excuse me if I feel entitled to a day off now and then. And with your small little fever, you don't even have room to talk to me. If you're feeling a little hot, why not try running around outside for a few minutes till you cool? Down? Everyone knows that's the quickest way to reduce a fever.
I can hardly believe what I'm hearing right now.
Do you honestly believe that?
Besides, I'm not going to go running in this state.
Why don't you get off your lazy bum and go to the shop and return instead? Because you have so much time to react to my messages, I know you aren't doing much around the house right now. If you have a fever, using your phone should be far more difficult than doing housework. Your texts don't make you sound sick.
Enoch, I'm lying in bed messaging you and that's it. And what do you mean when you say that using a smartphone is more difficult than doing housework? That makes no sense. That's impossible to believe.
What do you mean? And it's completely true. That is how the world operates.
What are you talking about? You never even offered to assist me with housework. That's why there's always so much for me to do and why I whine so much about it.
Oh, of course. I'm a male. I shouldn't even be doing housekeeping. Everyone knows that type of work is reserved for women. And as a housewife, your job is to do it all.
I'm sure I've told you 100 times that I'm not a housewife. I'm tired of this conversation. I don't think you're really listening to what I'm saying right now. I guess I'll simply shut up and finish up my tasks.
I'm delighted to see you're starting to make sense again. Anyway, while you're there, get some sliders and those peanuts I love. You've seen them before? Then I want you to make a veggie tray out of freshly sliced vegetables, not pre-made crap. Don't forget to stock up on beer and wine.
That appears to be a significant amount shopping. Let me handle it. The next day.
Hello, Sarah. I'll be over at your house shortly. On his last excursion, William caught far too many fish. I was hoping you wouldn't mind if I shared with you.
Oh, thank you so much, Angela. Unfortunately, I've been sick and don't have much energy. I'm sorry to bother you, but could you perhaps bring them by another day?
Please excuse me? What exactly do you mean by that? That's what you have to say to your mother-in-law when I say I'm going to bring you a gift? Is it just because I'm a bother to you?
What? No. Of course you are not a bother. It's only that I'm currently suffering from a high fever. I'm afraid that even if you did come all the way over, I wouldn't be able to properly greet you.
Oh, my goodness. Do you have our fever? So, I hope you're doing everything you can to keep my little Enoch from getting sick from you. He isn't like you in that he has a genuine job that he must attend every day. If you make him ill, he won't be able to work hard enough to feed both of you.
Right. Yes. Okay. Thank you. I'll be careful. Although Enoch appeared to be in good health when he left for work today, I believe we will be okay.
You must ensure that he remains healthy. But to think you acquired a cold when all you did all day was putter around the home. It takes a lot of guts to get sick like that, in my opinion.
What? No, it's not at all like that. I believe it occurred because Enoch locked me out the other day. He arrived home drunk and yelled at me to go to the store and get him some goods. While I was gone, he bolted, chained our front door, and fell asleep.
Oh, wow! Are you really attempting to complain about my own son to me? You've got a lot of guts, don't you? Did you ever consider that maybe that is something you should have considered and planned for? Isn't it your fault you got locked out of the house?
That wasn't exactly my point. I simply mentioned it since we don't generally chain the door shut once we lock it. So I never expected to be locked out like that.
So you're just proving my point. It's all your fault. Besides, Enoch shouldn't need to know about whatever his wife requires. Why didn't you just get divorced if all you want to do is complain?
I'm sorry, Angela. I believe I have a few issues to consider. Sorry, but I guess I just need to rest for the rest of the day.
Don't worry. I'll still come over and teach you all you need to know about being a wonderful wife.
No, thank you. That's really not necessary. The house is still a mess because I haven't been able to clean up since Enoch and his coworkers came over to drink last night. Right now, the house is a complete disaster. It is absolutely not necessary for you to watch it.
What exactly did you just say to me? It is already late afternoon, and you're telling me you haven't cleaned up the mess from yesterday? Are you just trying to make me angry?
The problem is that I've been sick with a fever since yesterday, but Enoch wanted to spend out with his pals at our house. I was so busy making sure there was always food and drink available that I was really fatigued by the end.
So, you had my youngster start his day in a filthy house? I'm not sure where you're going, young lady. What you are doing is heinous. How can you call yourself his wife if you can't even do the simplest of housework? You should be embarrassed.
Have you been paying attention to anything I've said all this time? I just finished telling you that despite having a fever, I not only accomplished the chores, but also hosted a night of drinking.
That is precisely what a good wife should do. Don't congratulate yourself for doing the bare minimum. Now get out of bed and begin cleaning the house. And I promise that if the entire place isn't perfectly clean by the time I arrive, I really will. Make Enoch divorce you.
That is why I'm requesting that you not come over today. I simply do not have the energy to do anything today. The next day.
Hey, how long do you intend to stay at home and do nothing? My mother informed me of all you've been up to. What about how you were passed out on the floor when she arrived at our house? And that you even forced her play along with your little act to the point of calling an ambulance for you?
Your mother informed me that she was coming over and that I needed to tidy the house before she arrived. And as soon as I stood up, I became dizzy and went out. I attempted to persuade your mother not to come over yesterday, but she had already decided. She forced her way inside, using a spare key she'd already prepared. But I guess it was because of it that she found me on the floor and called for aid.
She also mentioned how the place was still a shambles because you didn't clean up after my party. How could you have let her into our home and see that? Even though I warned you that the house had best be spotless by the time I returned. It's a good thing my mother caught you and realized how lazy you are when no one is home.
Really, after everything I did to make sure you and your co-workers had everything you needed the other night? Do you realize how much you sound like your mother right now? My fever had already reached 42 by the time I arrived at the hospital.
And that suits you well. I had to go to work without breakfast this morning because of your sloth. You're lucky because I'll be out drinking with the guys again tonight, so I'll be ready for dinner. Even so, I'm still stunned by the state you're leaving our home in. It's revolting.
Look at me, Enoch. You created the shambles, therefore you must clean it up.
Please excuse me? What did you just say?
Is this any way to communicate with someone who has been so good to you while you've been sick? It's only a 42-degree fever and you're using it as an excuse to avoid doing any housework? I don't care if you've already checked in. If you haven't turned around, returned home, and cleaned. That place, by the time I get home, we're done.
Okay, we're done. Let's get a divorce.
Wait. What?
No, you're correct. It's better this way. Being with you has only ever given me stress, and more stress. I'm tired of you always treating me like a slave. Let's just get things over with.
Wait. Please, wait a moment. Are you serious?
Of course I am. I'm just doing what you suggested. As soon as I get out of the hospital, I'll begin completing the paperwork so that we can make it official. Goodbye, Enoch. A few weeks later.
Hey, I'll take you back at any time. So, stop being so stubborn and come home already.
Please, excuse me. Do you want me to come back? Are you certain you don't simply miss having a slave to bully around? What a farce. But I'm quite content enjoying a beautiful life without you.
What? You mean you're fine with not seeing me?
Well, of course. In fact, now that I'm not with you, I'm feeling better than I have in years. Divorcing you was one of the smartest moves I've ever made. I can't even remember what made me want to marry you in the first place.
But when you were here, you never seemed to be upset. Have you already found work or something? I assumed you couldn't function without me and my work.
I can't believe I have to explain this to you again. I did my work from home. I've always worked for myself and made my own money. You truly are the worst, I don't think you've ever actually listened to anything I've attempted to tell you.
Wait, so you were serious about working from home, right? So you're totally fine without me?
Oh, it's much more than that. I've been living my best life without you. Without you around to make messes all over the place for me to clean up, life is a lot easier. This is the best I've felt in years.
Come on, how can you say something like that? Please, Sarah, just come home now. The house is a shambles, and because I'm a man, I don't know how to cook or clean the house. It's just not the same without you. So, could you perhaps come over every now and then to take care of the house?
Are you even listening to yourself? Do you still have any brain cells in there, or did you drink them all away? Give me one reason why I want to clean up after someone as bad as you. And besides, do you believe you can't cook because you're a man? We're all humans, man or woman.
But in my entire life, I've never had to cook. And of course, I've never cleaned a house or done anything similar. So, please, just come over and show me the fundamentals.
Do you believe I was taught how to accomplish all of those things? Why do you just try using your precious few remaining brain cells? You don't know how to cook since you have never had to cook for yourself. So why not express your appreciation to the individuals in your life who have always cooked for you?
That's exactly what I've been attempting to express. Cooking is a woman's occupation. That's why I've never done it, won't do it, and shouldn't have to.
So you'll simply have to starve till you find someone else, won't you? But seriously, do you think there are any men out there who live alone and cook for themselves? You don't think it's a little archaic to believe that it's a woman's responsibility to cook and clean? You're just making up reasons why you can't do anything for yourself.
It's not my fault, after all. I never had to do anything like that when I was younger, so I have no idea how to do it today.
Well, I guess you'll have to do it now, so get started. What did you expect to get from all these pitiful crocodile tears? Moreover, didn't you always claim that housework was the easiest?
Obviously, if I put my mind to it, I could do it, but...
But what? What else could you possibly say? Why am I bothering to inquire? I don't care what happens to you or your life. So, please stop messaging me.
Please, wait. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have treated you that way. But I truly can't do these duties. Please help. You are the only one I can turn to for assistance right now.
No way. You should not expect me to ever help you again. After all, any ways you've thrown the work I accomplished back in my face, I think that should be quite evident. Maybe spending so much time alone with yourself will eventually make you realize how powerless you are without others to clean up after you. After that, I blocked Enoch on all platforms, and Enoch knew he had lost the one person to whom he had become accustomed to calling for. Assistance. I never informed him where I went, so he couldn't track me down or bother me again in person. I'm sure his apartments get messier by the day. It's probably almost uninhabitable at this point. Not long after leaving Enoch, I met an amazing man. In fact, we're already talking about getting married. He's always helpful around the house, cooking and cleaning. There was nothing more pitiful than a man who couldn't even care for himself. Have you taken a break from work yet?
I'm not done with the work yet, so don't bother waiting for me.
Egan, I told you needed to go home early today. And this is absolutely not the time for you to drink alcohol right now. Think about taking better care of your health.
Oh, please save me. Big lecture tonight. You think I came to the job because I wanted to do it? You know what it feels like to be a working man struggling to get in while you're sitting at home all day? Sometimes you have to come to these work dinners even if you don't want to, if you want to survive in the company. How many times must I tell you that it's no exaggeration to say that attending corporate dinners is an extension of my work?
But I told you that I have something important to tell you today.
What do you have to tell me? Say it now and don't stammer like that, okay?
It's not something I can tell you by text. That's something I have to tell you directly.
Oh my God. Just say it now. I know it's not that big of a deal anyway, so don't waste any more time and let me know quickly.
All right, the health check results are in, and the result is not very good.
What do you mean when you say that the results are not so good? Just make it clear so I can really understand it, okay?
Egan, they discovered signs of cancer during the physical examination.
What? Is that correct?
Well, we have to examine it more closely to know the full details. But it seems they have found a particularly hard-to-treat cancer in the colon.
I know it's very surprising, but try not to worry too much about it. Today's cancer treatments have become quite advanced, and I am sure we will see good results if we implement the treatment.
Well, who knew that things would take such an unexpected turn? I never thought you'd get cancer in 100 years. I heard that people with colon cancer don't live long, so I guess you will die and ascend to the spirit world soon, right?
What did you say?
How long can you live exactly when you have colon cancer? Well, whatever. To be honest, I don't really care. I don't really care for that, and it doesn't really bother me, so you don't have to tell me if you don't want to. Then I guess we'll have to go to court and file for divorce as soon as possible.
What? Go to court to file for divorce? Do you know what you're saying? How drunk are you now to say such meaningless things to me?
Oh, now I'm not drunk at all. Corporate dinners are a big deal.
I'm really enjoying this moment with my girlfriend. I am more awake than ever, so please pay attention and listen to me now. I'm not the kind, generous guy who can take care of his ailing wife with cancer, okay? I can't see you running around in a hospital gown with all your hair falling out. I won't be able to bear it, and I can't live with you anymore. So hurry up and get a divorce and get out of my house.
What? Are you serious with me right now? Are you cheating on me with another woman? Don't you lie to me enough, but you still want to throw me away like a worn-out shoe just because I have cancer? For you, doesn't it make sense for us to live together as husband and wife for more than 10 years? Don't you feel any sense of well-being as a spouse or even as a fellow human?
What are you talking about right now? I don't know what you mean with that nonsense, but there's nothing I can do about that stupid trash. I don't need an ugly, wrinkled old woman dying of cancer. What I need is a girlfriend who is 10 years younger than me, beautiful, healthy, and just looking at it makes me happy. And don't blame me. Blame yourself for not being able to take good care of your body and bring cancer into yourself. You'll die soon anyway, and you won't need the money or the house when you're gone, so you can leave everything without taking anything else, right? Do whatever you want. Want to go back to your parents or become homeless on the street? It's your choice and responsibility as an adult.
All right, I guess you are correct. If you have cancer, then you don't really need the house, the money, or anything like that, so you just go with your clothes on and nothing else. I mean, you really shouldn't take any material things with you that you can't take with you when you die, so you should leave it all to your family.
Now you understand what I'm saying, don't you? Then you'll join me in getting a divorce and signing the papers as quickly as possible, right? I mean, I'd rather be divorced than widowed because that sounds better socially, if you know what I'm saying. I don't want to be labeled a pathetic widower. You understand it, right?
All right, I'll agree to divorce you. I will pack your bags for you immediately so you can get out of the house as soon as possible. If you want to go to your girlfriend's house or sleep on the street, I guess that's completely up to you.
Huh. What are you talking about? I thought you had colon cancer, but the cancer has also spread to the brain, right? Why am I out of my house?
You just said that the person with cancer and dying doesn't need anything anymore. Just the clothes on his body are enough to go, right? Or did you forget what you just said?
Well, you're the one with cancer that should be gone, not me.
You still don't understand, do you? How you manage to get a job in a company and get a girl to hang out with you with that level of intelligence is really a big mystery to me, honestly. The person with cancer in the results of the physical examination is you, not me.
Don't lie to me. It's not like I've got cancer.
Well, go check it out and you'll see, right? Whatever the outcome, at least that's not my concern, but I'm just telling you that's what the hospital told me.
Okay, fine. I'll go home right away. When I get home, we can both search the hospital together and make an appointment right away. I'm sure it won't be a big deal in the end, so don't worry about it too much and just wait for me.
What did you say? Did you ever flip a burger as a kid or something? Because the way you just turned your mind around is pretty amazing.
Hey, I was just joking, okay? I think you're going to be a little depressed because you have cancer, so I tried to make a joke and cheer you up. I'm going to ask permission to leave the company dinner right now, so wait for me when I get home, honey.
Sometime later.
Honey, the test results are in. It turned out that I actually had colon cancer, and the doctor told me that I had only 6 months to live. I mean, how could I have cancer? What sin did I commit that God wanted to take me away at such a young age? I didn't feel sick at all, and I had no pain inside, and went there saying I would disappear from this world in half a year. Honey, what should I do now? Why don't you say anything, darling? Your husband has just learned that he is dying. Why you keep quiet and say nothing? Say something. Anything.
I don't know, Egan. What should I say? I don't have anything to say to you. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Can you and me go to court tomorrow so we can get a divorce? I don't want to be seen as a woman who eats away from her husband or anything like that. Because it won't be so good when I want to get remarried later, Do you understand me?
I'm just telling you that the doctor told me I don't have much longer to live because I have cancer. How can you say such cruel things to me now in such a terrible situation? Do you not feel sorry for the husband who has been with you for 10 years?
Weren't you the one who betrayed that pledge first? Don't you say you don't need a wife with cancer? And that you would rather live happily ever after with your new girlfriend after divorcing me as soon as possible?
Look, I was just messing with her. She means nothing to me. Think of it as the occasional takeaway Chinese order. You know, sometimes you want to eat some sweet and sour pork when you're bored of eating at home all the time. I mean, it's not even sweet and sour pork. It's like ordering food and eating some cheap fried noodles. How can I compare you, a good wife, a wise, intelligent woman, to someone he only met once to pass the time?
No, I don't think so, Egan. I don't think I'll be good for you either. What can I, an ugly old woman, do for you by being by your side while you are fighting cancer and fighting for your life? If you want to prolong your life by one more day, then you need the fresh, bright energy of a young, beautiful girl. So get rid of something as old as me and get married to your lovely girlfriend. I heard that sometimes God can grant the wishes of the deceased, so how can he refuse your wish to be with your loved one when you are about to die? I understand it all, Egan, so don't worry about me.
Please don't say such cruel things to me, darling.
Listening to you say that, my heart froze.
There's no one in this whole wide world that I can trust but you. My so-called girlfriend blocked my number as soon as I said that I was diagnosed with colon cancer. She is a really cold person. I know I'm the bad guy here ever since I was tricked by her and it led to me betraying you. I really was wrong with you and I know I deserve to die. But I promise I won't betray you again. So will you forgive me for this last time and accept me as your loving husband? How can I get alone without you? Fighting cancer alone and facing death. The truth is, I'm scared. So, darling, please stay by my side, okay?
If I were the one with cancer, you would get rid of me immediately, right? I know exactly what kind of person you are now, so how can I live with you knowing who you are? I'm sorry, Egan, but I'm not a generous person to care for a husband who betrayed me.
But I really don't have anyone other than you right now.
If you turn your back on me, then I have no one left to lean on, and you know that I really have nowhere else to go.
I grew up in an orphanage, not related by blood to my family. What can I do if you throw me away?
Why should I worry about such a thing? It just gives me a headache, Egan. When I can get a divorce and move in with my parents, unlike you.
Are you really going to divorce me even if I get on my knees begging you like this?
Well, Egan, how many times do I have to repeat it?
Okay, fine. If that's what you really want, then I guess there's no way around it. I don't want to hold someone who doesn't need me. Anyway, I don't have much time left to live, so I guess I'll just roll around and die. But since I have to go to the hospital for cancer treatment and it will cost a lot of money, you can't take all of my property, right? Are you healthy enough to make a lot of money later?
What property? We don't have any of that.
What do you mean? Don't we have the $40,000 we've saved up? Even if we get a divorce, won't I get half of it, $20,000? Don't tell me you're going to try to get all the money out of a dying person, okay? You're not such a cold-blooded monster, are you?
No, what does it matter if I am hot or cold-blooded? You betrayed and cheated on me, and if we get a divorce, you will have to pay alimony anyway. But I can't really go around with my ailing body and work to earn alimony. So why don't you just give me $20,000 instead of paying alimony, and we can take it as peace?
What? Are you serious now? How could you do this to me? That is the worst thing. You are really a greedy pig, both ugly and greedy for money. If there's anything I regret in my life, it's meeting such a selfish, egotistical, greedy woman as you. I don't understand why God forgave you. And instead, God decided to take the life of me, who grew up without parents and just suffered in life. I'm filled with so much anger and suffering right now.
I don't think you have a lot of time to lie around and think about silly things like that. Why don't you save some of that energy instead of wasting it on such stupid things and looking for a new home to live in while you still can?
What did you say? Looking for a new home to stay?
Yes. Why are you so surprised? Did you forget that our house was purchased by my parents in my name? When we get divorced, I will sell the house to a real estate company and move back to my birth parents' house with our daughter. So try to get out of the house next week. Oh, and don't even think about setting me up under the pretext of being our daughter. You've never played with her once or really paid attention to her. You never even gave her a warm smile, and she told me that she doesn't have any feelings for you. So give it all up. Just sign the divorce papers and get out of the house.
How could you do this to me? You are even worse than the devil.
Honestly, I want to tell you the same thing. You have nothing in hand, but I marry you because I believe you will be a good and honest person. It's only now that I realize your true face and true personality is just a piece of garbage. I thought that I could help heal you because you grew up without parents and you must have suffered very deep wounds. But you're the kind of person who decides to stomp on and tear through my unconditional love and best wishes for you. I hate dealing with complicated formalities, so I'll be hiring a lawyer to take care of everything soon, so talk to an attorney.
After that, I divorced my husband and got full custody of my daughter. The betrayal and hurt I felt was just as great as the love and trust I had for him. Therefore, I never contacted my ex-husband again after the divorce. Egan is battling cancer while living in a tattered house. My mother visited him a couple of times and brought him some food. I even brought my daughter along to say goodbye to my ex-husband a few days before he left this world. My ex-husband looked my daughter in the eye and said sorry while tears rolled down his face. I learned that he passed away and that his spirit returned to heaven not long after that. He has a precious family, but he doesn't realize it. Instead, he betrayed his family and ignored it, which eventually brought a sad ending to himself.
Hey, you! Are you still hanging on to your job? How many times have I advised you to quit and become a devoted full-time housewife for my son?
Oh, hello, Clara. Great to receive your message as well. I hope you can empathize with my perspective when I say this, but I've repeatedly expressed my lack of interest in giving up my job and becoming a housewife. By now, I had expected us to be in agreement on this matter. Furthermore, Ken has no objections to my job, so I fail to comprehend the concerns. To be frank, I believe this matter should be resolved between my husband and me.
Excuse me? What do you mean, Nishi? You are aware that people are labeling you as selfish because you haven't quit your job to take care of your little girl, right?
What? But I genuinely don't believe I'm being selfish in any way. How could anyone see working diligently in a job that supports your family as selfish?
But have you considered the impact your job will have on little Lucy? It's possible that she feels neglected and unloved because her mom is working. Consider the potential long-term effects this could have on her as she grows older. You will bear full responsibility for whatever befalls her in the future. Are you okay with that?
You think my child is going to grow up to have lots of issues all because her mom had a job? I really am not seeing the connection there. I'm sorry. Everything I do, I am doing for Lucy. Her well-being is always at the front of my mind, okay? Besides, I'm still with her throughout the day, you know?
But what you're doing isn't enough for her. Kids are super keen on these kinds of things and can be really sensitive to a lack of attention from parents. You need to be spending a lot more time than you think with your children, you know? I bet your poor little girl is so lonely without having you around the home to take care of her.
I'm sorry, but I just really don't think a lot of what you're saying is necessarily true. Besides, it's not like Lucy is ever really left alone at any point in the day. After all, she is about to start going to preschool with lots of other kids. And when she does start preschool, then I'll be taking off work early every day to go and pick her up.
And I'm telling you right now that this is still not enough for her. And your poor little girl is just too much of a sweetheart to say anything to you.
Are you sure that that's really what's going on? Anyways, it's fine because Ken is always helping out around the house too. And when I can't be with Lucy, he always makes sure to spend lots of quality time with her. She always seems to be having a lot of fun when they're together.
And you think that's a fair burden to put on my poor son? Don't you know how busy he is with his work? He deserves to rest when he comes home. But now you tell me that you're too lazy to be a parent to your own daughter, so you make Ken do it? Don't you know that it's the woman's job to raise the kids and manage the home?
I'm really sorry, Clara, but I just don't think we share the same beliefs on that topic. Besides, I think that times have changed and that mentality is a bit outdated. If a couple can hold jobs together, then they can raise their own children together. After all, it's their child, so isn't it only natural that both parents should have a role in raising it?
Well, here in my family, we still respect traditional values and don't think like that. I don't care what the rest of the world is doing. My family, my rules. Well, then again, I suppose you are just Ken's wife. It's not like we're really even family. But since you've married in, the least you can do is raise your family how I tell you to.
Don't you think you might be overstepping just a little?
And don't even get me started on the house. I mean, do you do anything to keep it clean? You just let clothes pile up unwashed, dishes in the sink, dust everywhere. Food left just sitting out. I mean, honestly, do you even try to keep your house clean?
I thought you might try and bring up the state of the house. Last time you came over, you did so without any kind of message or heads up. Then you barged in and started inspecting every nook and cranny for things to nitpick. Anyways, that really wasn't appreciated, so please don't do that again.
What could have possibly upset you over my visit? Maybe if you actually kept your home in order, then you wouldn't be upset when guests come over. I didn't tell you I was coming over because I wanted to make a point. And I had to be thorough while I was looking around. Who knows where you might have tried to hide your clutter from me?
I wasn't hiding things, and even if I was, it's my house, and I think I have that right if I want.
Oh, is that what you think, dear? You just didn't want me finding out what a messy person you are. I never wanted you to marry my precious little boy. He deserves a wife that can actually take care of the house like she's supposed to.
Actually, Ken and I do a really good job of splitting the chores. And it is true that sometimes both him and I get a little too busy that the housework doesn't get done. But we've never once let it get to the point where it's become a serious issue. We always make sure the house is clean enough that there is never any danger to our health or anything like that.
Well, I still don't think it's good enough. I can't stand going over to your filthy house. And I just know my little Ken feels the same way. After all, I erased him and always made sure the house was spotless as he grew up.
I really don't think you have to worry about that, Clara. Ken and I talk regularly, and he doesn't seem to have complaints about the way we live.
Oh, my poor sweet little boy. He must try so hard every day to control himself around you. I just wish he would divorce you already.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get a little fed up with this conversation. I would appreciate if you chose your next words very carefully.
I'm just so worried about my little boy. He worked so hard at his job every day and even makes sure to send a little money back home to me. I've heard that you don't send money back to your parents. Is that true? It's never a bad time to stop being a bad daughter.
Actually, I don't send money home to my parents because they really don't need the assistance. Besides, they both still work full-time and haven't reached retirement age yet. I know that you are able to be a stay-at-home mom the entirety of Tom's childhood. But ever since her husband died, you've needed Ken to send money to help you get by.
And I am just ever so grateful to my sweet, sweet son. I did such an amazing job raising him to be the way he is now. Of course he isn't perfect and has made some wrong decisions in his life too. Some small and some not so small, that is. Oh, I should have been there to guide him towards a better path.
I'm sure I have no idea what you're talking about right now. Anyways, it is our house, not yours, so we will continue to do things our way. Please hold back from giving any more comments or criticism about how you think my house is run, thank you.
Excuse me. Just who do you think you're talking to, young lady? If this is how you really act, then I truly do feel sorry for my poor little boy and my granddaughter.
Anyways, I'm quite busy, so I am going to go now.
Hi, honey. Did you and my mom happen to talk a little earlier today? My mom sent a message that was mostly just her complaining to me.
Yes, we did talk. She was asking me, again, if I was sure about not being a stay-at-home mom. She was just talking about how lonely she thought Lucy must be and how dirty she thinks the house is. Just the usual run-of-the-mill complaints, you know?
Ah, I see. I am so sorry you are having to deal with her like that. I've told her so many times that you and I happily split the work and managed the house together, but She's just so sad in her old ways and keeps insisting that all the stuff should be handled by the wife. And then she only blames you and the chores aren't done or the house is a little messy. I've tried explaining how things really are to her all the time, but she just doesn't seem to want to really listen to what I have to say.
No. I understand. It's really okay. Your mom is just the kind of person who really tries to exert her will onto others sometimes. I mean, that's about what I hear from you as well. If I'm being honest, I kind of feel bad for you sometimes too. You're also kind of a victim in this.
Yes, maybe just a little. I'm just sorry that all of her anger always seems to be focused on you, though. I really wish there was something I could do or say to my mom to get her to stop with all this. Lately, I just haven't even been trying to tell her the truth because she's getting to be so much. I'm so sorry I haven't done more to try and stop all of this.
Ken, I said it was okay, and I meant it. I know that you have a lot on your plate and that you're doing your best. And your hard work is really paying off too. I mean, just look at how well you did on that test last week. You're chasing certifications and always moving one step closer to your dream job.
Nishi, that's so sweet of you. Thank you so much. But I really couldn't have done any of the things that I have without you by my side, always willing to help. And I know I haven't made things easy on you with all this. But I promise I'll have some good news soon. All I ask is that you hold on just a little bit longer, okay?
Of course, baby. You know I'll always be cheering you on.
We're going to that barbecue restaurant for a family dinner. We're going to have so much good food. Except for you. You're only allowed to eat from this salad bar.
Excuse me? What do you mean I can only eat from the salad bar?
Well, you're not family and this is a family dinner. That's why I say that you can't order anything off the menu. Only the salad bar. Maybe you can just get your fill off of all the good smells.
What are you even talking about? Don't you think this is just a bit excessive?
And here she goes again, the bad wife always arguing with her mother-in-law and never doing what she's told. I really can't stand you, you know that? Why don't you just go home?
Okay then. Maybe I will.
Good, leave then.
That's what I'm doing. Have a nice dinner.
Hey, you evil witch, what did you say to Ken? He is furious with me right now. Did you know even your own daughter said that she hates Grandma now? What kind of evil lies did you tell my family?
Well, did Lucy really say that to you? I guess I've been raising my kid to be a lot tougher than I thought. Honestly, I'm moved to hear that.
Tell me what you told them. Tell me what you said that made my son and granddaughter so furious with me. I got so upset I had to run to the bathroom. Ken even told me that I have to change the way I talk to you. Can you believe that?
I would certainly hope that that's the least he said to you, Clara. I've been pissed all day because of the nonsense you were spouting at me earlier. So I talked to Ken and told him all the horrible things that you said to me. He seemed really upset with you after I finished telling him everything.
You evil harpy! What lies did you fill my poor little boy's head with? What did you do to my sweet precious Ken?
It was around the time that I was heading towards the restaurant where I thought we would all be eating together. Then, suddenly, I got all those nasty messages from you that resulted in me not even showing up. Well, I explained what had happened to Ken and that I was too upset and had to go home. And I guess that was just about the time that Ken and Lucy arrived to meet you at the restaurant.
So that's why it was only those two who were there when I arrived? And what is this dribble I hear about my son not working right now? You're telling me that my son and grandchild have been living off what you've been bringing home? That can't be. I don't believe it.
Wow, so Ken finally told you what he's been up to, huh? Well, that was unexpected, if I'm being honest. He told me he would wait until he achieved his goal before finally spilling it all to you.
What are you talking about? You talk to me straight right now, or else. What are you going on about Ken's goal? You better tell me.
So I guess this conversation didn't get very far then, huh? Did you know that Ken has always wanted to be a designer? I'm sure you must have known that about your precious little boy, no?
He what? What are you even saying right now? You're telling me that that is what Ken is studying right now? Design?
That's right. He went back to school to pursue his passion for design. And that's why I've been working extra hard to provide for all of my family.
This has got to be some kind of joke, surely? I thought I made sure those silly dreams of his were put to rest when he was little.
Well, for a long, long time they really were. Do you see? You got in the way of your son doing what he really wanted to do. Now I'm working hard to give him a chance to achieve those dreams you made him give up. He's always been such an obedient son, doing whatever you told him to do. Well, I won't be doing the same. Instead, I'll support him all the way while he finds his own path.
You stupid cow! Are you trying to ruin my son's future?
Oh, Clara. Isn't that the exact question that I should be asking you? Always making Ken do things he didn't want to. Forcing him to apply for companies that you picked out for him. It didn't matter as long as your expectations were satisfied, right?
But I had to. Because of that, he had a comfortable salary and a good job with an amazing company. But you made him leave all that behind just so he could chase some childish dream of his? Don't you realize that this will ruin him?
Let me tell you something about his job, Clara. Not only was it something that he didn't pick out for himself and never wanted to do, but every day he would come home late after hours of overtime and constantly look depressed. What I'm doing for Ken, I'm doing because I want him to enjoy his life more. I want to support him the way my parents supported me starting my own business.
But you have to open your eyes. This is the real world that we're living in. And let me tell you something, young lady. The real world does not give one spit about your dreams. What if Ken fails? What is your plan then?
If that's what happens, then we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But no matter what happens, I'll always be working hard to provide for my family. Because that's what a good husband and wife do. We're there for each other.
Well, that's all well and good for you too, but what about Lucy? Aren't you neglecting her by always working so much? I mean, just look at the state of your house. That is no way to be raising an infant child.
Actually, since I'm working as much as I am, Ken has been taking care of all the housework. Of course, I help him whenever I can since his first priority right now is taking care of Lucy.
What kind of sick family dynamic is that? You make your husband handle the housework? That's just unnatural.
In life, there's work, and housework. Since I'm handling the work, Ken is in charge of the housework. But I guess if you think about it, it's the exact opposite of the way things used to be back in your day.
And that's why it's unacceptable. I simply will not allow it to happen.
I don't really care what you think. Lucy is always so supportive of how hard her dad works. And when she grows up and has dreams and ambitions of her own, Ken and I will be there to support her in whatever she wants to do. She's also going to learn from her dad what it means to pursue and achieve your dreams. After all, it's all thanks to the way you raised him that Ken was so miserable for so long.
What did you just say to me?
That's why he is so opposed to raising Lucy the way you raised him. Do you understand everything I'm trying to tell you right now? We are going to do things our own way and make sure our kids are raised the way we want them to be.
You think you can just go off and raise kids without grandparents? You'll regret this.
No, Clara. I think the one who will be regretting how this turns out will be you. I feel like you should know that the allowance you thought Ken was sending you this whole time was actually from my own earnings. But your own sons said it's time that you were cut off. And so from today, you will no longer be receiving your checks in the mail.
Wait, what? Then how am I supposed to live? How am I supposed to buy food? I never had to work before. I was a stay-at-home mom my whole life.
And this is the result of you thinking that that was the best choice for yourself. I guess you should have thought of a backup plan in case things turned out this way. I've gotten as far as I have in life through my own strength, and that's why I will never be a housewife.
Wait! You can't do this to me. I'm your mother-in-law. I was wrong. I understand that. You don't only have to eat at the salad bar. Do you think we could meet in person and talk?
There's nothing else I want to say to you. I hope you lead a life that you can be sure you chose for yourself. I'm sure that's the only way you'll know whether your decisions were correct or not. But in my opinion, I think people who have never worked a day in their life should learn a bit about the real world before telling others how to live. Subsequently, Clara exited the restaurant's bathroom stall and made her way back to her table. When I arrived, she was still seated there, receiving a lecture from her son. Upon seeing Clara, I immediately suggested that she relish the salad bar before joining my family on the way home. We departed, leaving Clara there to contemplate her decisions. Clara encountered challenges while attempting to secure a part-time job to support her new life without financial assistance from our family. I've heard that she is barely scraping by. That's just what you deserve.
Hey, Cammy! Aren't you experiencing any sense of shame for your actions? Do you comprehend the extent to which you cause distress to those around you? Huh? What's gotten into you all of a sudden? How pathetic is it to be 41 years old, married, and still residing in your parents' house? Do you grasp the weight of the burden you impose upon our family? I don't think I'm a burden. The mere fact that you continue to reside at home is not only embarrassing but also an additional burden in itself. It's not normal for people to live at home at that age. Although I reside at home, the majority of the time, I am rarely present. Furthermore, I contribute financially to support the family. You have no right as my older sister to complain about me. I'm embarrassed having you as a part of the family. You're a failure because you're still living in at home. Are you even listening to what I'm saying? You're a failure, that's why you can't get married. Popular girls like me can get married really quickly. Oh, really? You're right that you got married and had kids, and maybe our parents are grateful for that. But since I can't contribute in that same way, I have been giving Mom and Dad money. You're not doing that, now are you? You keep complaining about me, but you're also over 40 now. And since you're my older sister, you've lived even more than me. But even though you're the older sister, you and your husband still haven't sent our parents any money. What's up with that? I have no idea what you're talking about, so I'm not responding. Don't ignore me, you just won't reply because I'm right. I'm not gonna play your little games. You're not even willing to listen to what I have to say. You know that I'm right. You're the one who's not willing to listen to what I have to say. I've kicked you out of Mom and Dad's house. Huh? What do you mean you kicked me out? You're not home now, right? I've told you a million times that I don't go home often since I have to go on international business trips frequently. Are you saying that to brag? I'll have you known that nothing about that is worth bragging about. For me, having your own family is what truly can bring you happiness. You might be right. But everyone's values are different. I can't deny your way of thinking. So can you not accept my way of life? A 40-something-year-old unmarried woman like you serves no purpose. Are you listening? You're trash. Actually, some trash might be more valuable than you. How long are you going to berate me until you're satisfied? You're on a business trip right now, correct? You've worked all your life and now you're 40. What's fun about a life like that? You really don't have to say that. I'm busy now, so are you done? If you want to keep talking, whatever. My husband and I are considering moving in with Mom and Dad. What? Really? That's why Mom and Dad said that they'll refuse to take any more money from you. You probably weren't giving them much anyways. We talked about inheritance too. They said they don't want you to claim the right to anything. So we're cutting ties off with you. Just treat us like strangers from now on, okay? Huh? Why were you guys talking about inheritance? Mom and Dad are still healthy, right? This is regarding future business. I don't want you to steal the inheritance from Mom and Dad. I'm the one who deserves it anyways. I get what you're saying, but I never had any intentions of claiming the right to the inheritance anyways. So then why do I have to break off ties with the family? All I was doing was sending our parents some extra money. I've made it so that they cut off all ties with you. Because I never want to see you again. Let's talk about this when I return home. I'll listen to what you want. This isn't something meant to be discussed over text. We should talk about this more calmly. If you want to move in with Mom and Dad, then that's fine. Do what you want. You don't seem to understand. You being there is a burden. Are you really going to say that? I had no intention of burdening anyone. Even if you didn't mean to be a burden, you are one. I'm done speaking with you. Why don't you go back to work? That's all you're good for anyways. I was gonna get back to work anyways. Don't be so nasty. My husband agrees with me. He thinks you're weird. Why would he say something so rude? I barely even met with him yet he says that about me? That's because it's weird for someone to be in their 40s, unmarried, into living with her parents. You boasting about how you give money to Mom and Dad is also a joke. Feel free to say whatever you want. But you have no right to say any of those things. Who does your husband even think he is? Don't make fun of my husband. Then how about you don't make fun of me? We need time to seriously talk this through. Talk to you later. My husband and I are moving in with Mom and Dad today. You'll have nowhere to live now. Huh? Seriously? I told you we should talk this through. Did you forget? There's nothing worth discussing with you. I've already thrown away your belongings. Huh? I know you looked down on me, but did you really have to go that far? While you were on your international business trip, I threw away everything into the dumpster. Since you always brag about your business trips. You're a good-for-nothing woman that still depends on her parents after hitting 40. Never come back! You should be ashamed of yourself. Throwing everything in the dumpster. Wasn't that a hustle for you? It was, but it was worth it because now I can cut off ties from you. Did Mom and Dad agree to you doing this? They were on the fence about it at first, but they eventually came around. They did it so that you can become independent. Stop letting our parents support you and live on your own for once. Just because you're giving Mom and Dad money doesn't mean anything. You need to live independently. Did you seriously throw everything away? Yup. I did it while you were on your little trip. You're a parasite living off of Mom and Dad. Don't come home. Thanks, you may think it's easier for me. Huh? I said that I was going on a business trip. But I'm actually working here indefinitely and had no plans of going back. Huh? What do you mean?
I used to go on international trips and return home when I got back into the country. But if I was living there full time, then wouldn't I have had to pay rent?
I don't understand. What are you even saying? So you're telling me that you weren't actually living there in the first place?
Well, of course I would return home for short periods of time when I'd come back. But I never intended on fully living there. I already have a house in Paris.
Huh? You have a house in Paris?
I didn't tell you? I bought it last year. I was always moving between New York, London, and Paris. But from now on, I'd like to settle down in Paris. That's why I ended up buying the house.
I don't understand what you're saying. How can you afford to buy a house in Paris?
How? Well, I am working. I also just simply wanted to send money home to Mom and Dad. I pretended that it was for rent. Well, if Mom and Dad don't care anymore, then that's fine. I won't be planning on living there ever again anyways. I'm actually grateful that you cleaned up my room for me. Thanks.
So you never planned on taking Mom and Dad's house as your own?
Why would I do such a thing? I don't think I said anything about doing that.
Yeah, you didn't say anything, but...
I didn't even know you wanted the house. If Mom and Dad are okay with you living there, then I don't have any complaints. Just do whatever you want, Bella.
Huh? So what was I trying to compete for?
I have no idea. I think it's respectable that you're raising your 2 kids, but I don't like being told what to do by you. If you want to break up ties with me, then go ahead. Of course I'll stop sending money just like you said I should. In return, you threatened me to not take any of the inheritance, right?
Yeah!
What's even there to be inherited? Mom and Dad are just living off their pension. I don't think there will be anything left to give to us besides the house. I never planned on receiving the house anyways. So you really didn't have to compete with anyone?
How could I have known? Does living off their pension really mean that they don't have much extra money? I suspected that you were surely using our parents' savings to go abroad since you go so often.
Come on, you seriously know nothing about me.
What do you mean?
I've worked so hard to the point that they put me in magazines. I'm practically famous. You seriously know nothing.
What? You're famous?
I go by the name Arena. If you Google me, stuff should come up. I have tens of thousands of followers on social media.
What do you mean? What kind of job do you even have?
I'm a designer. The fact that you don't know is shocking.
Huh? You're a designer? I've never heard this before.
From your perspective, I'm just a 40-something-year-old who's unmarried and likes to have fun abroad. You think I'm some good-for-nothing loser that uses her parents' money to mess around.
That's how it seemed.
I'm sorry, but that's so far from the truth. I used the money I made to go abroad and learn. And now I've made it. By the way, I'm not lonely. I have a partner.
What a partner!
We've been partners for a while now. But we just got engaged.
Hold on, I just checked on Instagram. You were engaged to this good-looking guy? This must be a joke, it's not a joke?
I'm not a joke. I'm sorry, but my life is a lot more fulfilling than you thought it was.
There's no way that you can be engaged to some extremely handsome guy. While I was cheated on by my shabby husband and my life isn't going well. My husband quit his job and he returned to his hometown so that he can get by without paying rent. How come you're the one who gets to live a happy life? That's not fair.
Can you calm down? What are you trying to say? You proclaimed that I would be kicked out of Mom and Dad's house and cut off from the family. Then you threw all my stuff out of the house. But now you're jealous? Please get yourself together. Have you ever thought that maybe the reason you're in this situation is the result of your own actions?
What are you saying?
There's nothing more that I can do for you. You and your husband can take care of our parents. That's what you wanted, right? In the meantime, I'll be living happily in Paris. Bye. I'll probably never see you again.
We were informed about Cammie's circumstances and the constant disregard she faced, as well as her elder sister Bella's descent into madness due to envy. Their parents managed to make ends meet with a limited budget relying solely on their pension. Bella eventually came to the realization that staying with her parents wouldn't afford her any financial gain. Ultimately, due to her spouse's infidelity, she decided to end the relationship and depart. She assumed the responsibility of caring for her children at home alongside her parents, and she even secured employment to generate additional income. This experience caused Mia to recognize the importance of fostering a better relationship with her younger sister and engaging in more effective communication with her. There are moments when she deeply regrets not cultivating a bond with her sister. Her regret intensified, particularly when she witnessed Cammie appearing on television, as Cammie now feels unattainably distant to her. Her family laments their failure to treat her kindly, acknowledging that they should have recognized this sooner.